Sorry I'm late. Thanks, Bart. Anyway, we're over here. That's Justin Herman Plaza. Give me a second.
Death and destruction. May we affirm life and freedom for all people. Free! Free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Thank you, my brothers and sisters. Once again, my name is Simon and I'm with AO, part of AROC, and we appreciate every single one of you guys for coming out here and supporting Palestine and telling these families right across these Zionists that Palestine will be free. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Thank you. We have another speaker. We have Gloria Rivera with the Free Cuban 5. Everybody give a nice round for her.
Sisters and brothers, on behalf of the National Committee to Free the Cuban 5 and the Cuban 5
Hey, how you doing?
and the people of Cuba, there is nobody more in solidarity with Palestine than the people of Cuba. And just a few words from Fidel Castro. You know, I'm wearing a Cuban flag today because it's July 26th, the National Day of Resistance, when Fidel Castro and his men and women took up arms against the Batista regime and have a revolution in Palestine for the Middle East. On July 17, Fidel said, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, head of the nuclear state, ordered his armed army on the strip, where over the last few days, hundreds of Palestinians have died, many of them children. He said the President of the United States supported the action, describing this repugnant action as a legitimate defense. Obama does not support David against Goliath, but rather Goliath against David. He said, I'm not aware of the Palestinians' military strategy, but I know that a combatant prepared to die can defend even the ruins of a building as long as he has his rifle, as the heroic defenders of Stalingrad demonstrated. I only wish to express my solidarity with the heroic people who defend the last sliver remaining of what was once their homeland for thousands of years. Sisters and brothers, I think it is disgusting those people across They represent the Israeli people who've been cheering the bombs, who've been cheering the deaths, and nobody who cares about life should cheer death, should cheer war, but that's the nature. That's the nature of fascism. And I woke up this morning as I've woken up every day and thought every night, how do children live in rubble? How do children who lost their lands, who lost their parents, how do parents who lost their children, how do they survive? How do they live? They can't even sleep at night. They can't eat. They can't get medicine. And the Middle East, talking about ceasefire, he says nothing about lifting the siege of Gaza. He says nothing about self-determination. And that's why we're here today. Because the people of the world will do it. We have a statement on behalf of the National Committee to Free the Cuban 5. Every time we've had an anti-war action, we've spoken here for the 5 Cuban brothers who are in U.S. prison, who are suffering in prison for 15 years because they were defending the Cuban Revolution against U.S. terrorism, because the Cubans have suffered terrorism again. Sisters and brothers, we cannot ever stop until the Palestinians have their homeland, until every Palestinian, whether they were born there or not, return home.
Long live Palestine! 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 Free, free 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 Palestine! Over 1,000 Palestinians in Gaza have been killed. Over 4,000 have been wounded and injured. They not only bomb Gaza, but they go for more civilian targets. More and more. They shelled a UN school 2 days ago. They bombed more than half a dozen hospitals in Gaza. That's what the people on the other side represent. They represent fascism. They represent racism. They represent the American interest in the Middle East. That's what they represent. And I have to say this every single time I come in. Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, open the Rafah border now! Now means now! Our first announcement, Lara Kishwani, please come up to the stage. Our next speaker is Hani Goma. He's from Gaza. Some of his family members have been killed in recent Israeli missile strikes. Please welcome Hani. Thank you very much. My name is Hani Jama. I'm a dentist in South San Jose. I am Palestinian from Gaza. Last Sunday, I lost 60 family members in Gaza in one single airstrike on their homes. So I want the people across, I want the free pro-Israelis to listen, because we are going to be talking about facts, not any kind of agenda and not any kind of propaganda from any side. Who can believe in the 21st century 2 billion people, 2 billion Palestinians live in an area called Gaza? Gaza is 8 miles wide by 25 miles long. Can you believe in this area 2 million people live? I'm sorry, I'm fasting and my mouth is dry. Excuse me for that. So, among the 2 million people, over 60% are children and women. Who can believe that these people are dying every day? Not only that, every 2 hours there's a Palestinian child who dies as we speak. One child is dying every 2 hours right now as we speak in Gaza. Who can believe that in this area of the world you cannot travel, you cannot leave your home, you cannot go fishing, you cannot go swimming, you can do nothing, just die slowly. So people in Gaza decided we would rather die now in dignity defend our land than dying slowly with humanity. 2 weeks ago, I was listening to NPR News, and they asked the Palestinian child. All his family died in the airstrike 2 weeks ago. Nobody left in his family. 8 years old child, he's the only survivor of this Holocaust in Palestine. Do you know when they asked him, the NPR News, when he asked him, do you wish the Israelis to be killed? He said no. So he asked him why. He said, because it's so painful. I don't want any child to feel my pain. Is that your country? I ask all the free people, all the free Israelis, to use your common sense and end the siege right now. Yesterday I talked to my aunt in Gaza. My aunt told me that 2 days ago they asked her to evacuate her house. She evacuated her home, her brand new home. It was built in 2012 after it was destroyed in 2009. They asked her to evacuate with her kids. Can I have some more, please? So they asked my mom, my aunt. My aunt said that they asked her to leave her home. And the moment she left her home was leveled by S-16 missile again. Now she moved to an UNRWA United Nations housing center. When she was waiting and collecting her food with other Palestinians in the United Nations Center, the United Nations Center was bombed again. My aunt with the injured people, they were taken to Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza. I'm sorry, to Nasser Hospital in Gaza. And guess what? The hospital was bombed again. Is that the 21st century we're talking about? Is that our values and freedom as Americans that we wish to the world to be? Please, you must act now to end the siege and occupation of Gaza. 1,000 people died as we speak. Free, free Gaza! Free, free Gaza! Free, free Gaza! Free, free Gaza! Thank you very much. Free, free Palestine! 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 Okay, you guys gotta be way more louder than this. These people in the back, these Zionists right here, they support the killing of little kids. They support the bombing of innocent civilians. They support people sitting on hills watching helicopters and F-16s bomb little children. So to them and to their government, we say, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Long live 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 Palestine! Okay, brothers and sisters, we have another speaker, but before that, I would like to ask Lana to please come up to the stage, please. And I want you guys to give a nice warm welcome to Max Blumenthal. He's with Goliath magazine.
Thank you.
Yes, Max Blumenthal!
When I got over here, I heard these Zionists across the way playing disco music. I have a message for them. The disco era is over. And soon, these tacky Zionists need to know that the Zionist era will be over too. that's true. They do want peace. They want peace after peace after peace of Palestinian land. That's the peace they want. We want peace based on equality. We want peace based on rights. They say, as the Confederate States of America did, that might makes right. And we are here to tell them that rights make might. Rights make might. Now, I'm not here to speak for any foreign government or any organization. I'm not representing ANSWER. I'm not representing anybody. I'm just here as another Jew who's against genocide. Is that so crazy? I'm just another Jew who's against apartheid. Is that so crazy? We're the moderates. They're the extremists. And let me tell you something. Right now, there are hundreds of Jews in the center of Tel Aviv protesting this one-sided slaughter. And they are being attacked by right-wing mobs chanting death to Arabs and Muhammad is dead. Right-wing mobs like the mob across the way who do not represent Jews. There is no Jewish consensus on Israel. There is no Jewish consensus on a Jewish state. We say no more aid to Israel. No more apartheid. Thousands of us have signed a letter declaring an end to U.S. aid to Israel, calling for an end to apartheid. We were just joined by Ronnie Kasrils. Ronnie Kasrils, who stood by Mandela, a Jewish South African who fought apartheid. There is no Jewish consensus anywhere on the state of Israel. Zionism is a narrow, racist movement and you don't represent us. But what we're seeing from Washington is a total consensus. And I know you all watched as liberals like Bernie Sanders and Barbara Boxer and Elizabeth Warren voted for the one-sided slaughter in Gaza. 100-0 in Washington for the slaughter in Gaza. 100-0 for the bombing of UN schools. 100-0 for the dropping of 3,000 tons of explosives on the Gaza Strip. 100-0 for the destruction of Shujaa. 100-0 for the destruction of Han units. They don't represent us either, and that's what we're here to say. Now in Washington, they say that we share values with Israel. They say we have shared values. And they're right in a lot of ways. The problem is, those values are all the wrong ones. Because the U.S. and Israel increasingly make a mockery of democracy. The U.S. makes a mockery of democracy when Education Secretary Arnie Duncan says that the best thing that ever happened to public education in America is Hurricane Katrina, then proceeds to privatize all the public schools from New Orleans to Baltimore to Philadelphia to Chicago. Israel makes a mockery of democracy when it bombs schools in Gaza, when it bombs schools in the West Bank.
Leave him alone. Leave him alone. He's in the middle of his speech, lady. Leave him alone. Got a lot to say.
The U.S. makes a mockery of democracy when it warehouses kids on our border, Central American kids who've come here to unite with their family. Israel makes a mockery of democracy when it warehouses kids in the Gaza Strip simply because they're not Jews, simply because they were born as Palestinians and forces them to live in an open-air prison. The U.S. makes a mockery of democracy when it lets cops off light for killing Oscar Grant and for killing Eric Garner, and Bill Bragg moves from L.A. to Oakland to New York and gets promoted. Israel makes a democracy when it lets the killers of Mohammed Abu Hudayr plead insanity. We know that they are sane members of an insane society. That is not democracy. What we need to do today is focus right here in this imperial capital, in this center of the benefactor of the occupation. What we need to do today is what Fannie Lou Hamer asked us to do. To turn the Statue of Liberty around, force her to take that torch of liberty down and stare at the nightmare on her own shores. Force her to hear the cries of Mohammed Abu Hudayr. Force her to hear the cries of Oscar Grant and the cries of Eric Garner's family. Force her to hear the cries of those 4 backward boys who were slaughtered on a beachfront in Gaza by Israeli naval gunners. We need to take liberty back. We need to take freedom back. This is freedom. This is democracy. Washington doesn't represent us right now. This is democracy. This is freedom. This is freedom. This is freedom. Freedom! 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 Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Louder! Louder!
Thank you, man. Free, free Palestine! 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 Long live 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 Palestine! Thank you, brothers and sisters. You guys are being great, but we just gotta be way louder. We gotta be so loud that these Zionists in the back get so uncomfortable that they leave, that they get out. Say it with me. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Stop bombing Gaza! 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 Stop burning our youth! Stop burning our youth! Stop burning our youth! Stop burning our youth! Stop killing our youth! Stop killing our youth! Stop killing our youth! Stop killing our youth! Stop bombing Gaza! 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 Free, free Palestine! 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 Thank you, brothers and sisters. And we have another speaker here today, and I am so glad that I know this girl, and she is one amazing woman. Please give a nice hand for Laura. She is the coordinator of A-Rock. Everybody give her a nice hand.
Let me hear you, San Francisco! Are you angry? Let me hear you if you're angry, San Francisco! San Francisco, today, we stand with people all across the world, taken to the streets of Latin America, Asia, Africa, and Europe. Today, with millions, we express our outrage at the atrocities taking place in Palestine. Today, we stand with the hundreds of thousands of people that protested in Cape Town, in London, in Dublin, in Chicago. We stand with all those who successfully disrupted Israeli embassies, who successfully replaced the Zionist flag with our Palestinian flag. Today we stand on the left and just side of history. But more importantly, today we stand with those putting their lives on the line for justice. Today we stand with the 50,000 Palestinian youth, men, women, elderly, and children that marched through the West Bank yesterday, faced snipers, US-made tear gas, and tanks to challenge the compromise of their inalienable rights, to challenge the notion that Palestinians don't matter, to challenge the narrative that Palestine is divided. Today, we stand with the millions of Palestinians in the West Bank, in
and demand the recognition of their national identity, the rightful ownership of their native land to all of historic Palestine, from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. The millions of Palestinians that demand their right of return and the right to a dignified life free of settler colonial occupation be recognized by all those in power, from the Palestinian Authority to the sellout Arab regimes to the racist apartheid state of Israel to the complicit and shameful U.S. government. Today, we stand as the San Francisco Bay Area residents to say no to Zionism. As the government sends billions of dollars of aid to Israel, supplies this racist, apartheid, violent, colonial state with weapons that are massacring our people as we speak in Gaza, destroying Palestine inch by inch, stealing more land, more natural resources, building more colonies on top of our hilltops, imprisoning our freedom fighters, imprisoning our children, force-feeding our political prisoners, bombing our mosques, our churches, our homes, our schools and hospitals. Over 100,000 Palestinians have been displaced in the last 10 days. 80% of Palestinians in Gaza are already refugees, internally displaced Palestinians. And once again they find their homes demolished, their neighborhoods destroyed, and are left seeking refuge in UN schools that ultimately get bombed by Israeli military. But we will rebuild every home. We will replant every tree. For every lost freedom fighter, 10 will rise. What Israel is doing to Palestine today, ethnically cleansing an entire indigenous population, is not only done with the U.S. support of funding and weaponry, but also facilitated by the use of their very own highly sophisticated surveillance and repression technologies and practices. Technologies and practices that are exported all over the world and right here in our very own backyard in the Bay Area. As law enforcement, including the Oakland Police Department, the San Francisco Police Department, the Board of Supervisors, city council members travel to Israel to learn how to better police and militarize our communities. In September, Israel will work with law enforcement agencies right here in Oakland to partake in Urban Shield, an institutionalized war game using anti-terrorism exercises to perfect their practice of policing, criminalizing, and militarizing communities of color. The end to apartheid is necessary for all of our well-being. So long as the Zionist state of Israel exists, so too will U.S. imperialism. So long as apartheid Israel exists, so too will the puppet Arab regimes. So long as Israel exists, so too will U.S. hegemony. The U.S., along with Israel, has maintained the economic devastation of the masses of Arab people. Together, they have repressed our political movements. They have enabled the occupation of Iraq, Afghanistan. They have facilitated the sectarianism throughout the Arab world. Colonialism, imperialism, Zionism have ruptured our communities. They have destroyed our art, our history, our culture. From the colonization of this very land in 1492 to the colonization in 1948 of Palestine, settler colonialism is an attempt to erase us, to break us down, to destroy our ability to fight back. But Palestine is teaching us otherwise. So long as they continue to rise up, so shall we. We will expose the exclusionary, racist state of Israel as an unsustainable colonial project. We will make sure that Israel is exposed for its policy of ethnic cleansing. We will make sure that right here in the Bay Area, we boycott, divest, and sanction anything Zionist. From the everyday Israeli products such as Sabra hummus, to the corporations that financially and politically support Israel include funding racist organizations like the one across from us, like Victoria's Secret, to SodaStream, to Hewlett-Packard, to the cities that maintain diplomatic and economic relationships with the state of Israel, such as the city of San Francisco. We will shame them. Shame on the city of San Francisco for being a sister city with a Zionist city. Shame on every corporation in San Francisco that invests and supports in Israel. Shame on every business, Arab or otherwise, that carries Israeli products. Enough is enough. We will make it loud and clear. The San Francisco Bay Area stands for justice. We stand for Palestine. AROC, the Arab Resource and Organizing Center, says hell no to Zionism. And San Francisco says no to Zionism and says yes to a free Palestine.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Thank you, brothers and sisters, once again for coming out here. We really appreciate it, and we have to do this every day until Palestine is free, until there is no more apartheid. We want peace. The only peace that we want is every piece of Palestine. All of 48 to go back to their home. All the refugees have a right to go back to Palestine. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! We gotta be way louder! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Thank you. We have another speaker. I would like to welcome Hatem Bezyan from American Muslims for Palestine. Please give him a nice hand. Assalamu alaikum. What I wanted to speak today about is to pose the question: is the death of a Palestinian, the death of an African American, the death of a Latino on the border, the death of darker people around the world deserve our weeping, deserve for us to feel their suffering, deserve for us to say the policies that structurally kill and maim people from all the way 1492 until today. The war that is being conducted on Gaza has to be placed in the historical context that sees the people of the Southern Hemisphere as less human, as subhuman, as people that are not equal. And until we are confronting the structured racism that manifests itself institutionally, including our own country in here as well as abroad, that is the fundamental question that we need to answer, that there are communities that are treated as subhuman. And I say this for the following. Both are talking heads on the media, and they're only heads without much concept, with less logic coming out of them. When the 3 Israeli settlers were kidnapped, and today the New York Times magazine said that Hamas and the Palestinian resistance is not responsible to them. But that was made to be the crisis. But let us talk about another larger crisis. We've been facing kidnapping as a nation from 1948. We've been facing kidnapping since the British landed on Palestine. We've been facing kidnapping as the Third World since the colonialism terrorism have made its way into our countries. We've been facing kidnapping when millions of Africans were taken from their homes to come and be brought into this continent after the destruction of Native Americans. So they worked in the plantation from can't see in the morning till can't see at night. So you want to talk about kidnapping, we could talk about it from now to Judgment Day. And let me tell anyone, opposer or otherwise, that step to us and speak about violence. Anyone that comes to us and speak about violence, I want them to answer about the Inquisition. I want them to answer about colonialism. I want them to answer about the slave trade. I want them to answer about First World War, Second World War, with the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, with the Holocaust. I want them to answer for Vietnam, for bombing Cambodia, for mining the harbors in Nicaragua, for invading Panama, for invading every country in the world, and you have the audacity to ask us about violence? None of us in the Southern Hemisphere, we qualify to the violent Super Bowl that the Northern Hemisphere have manifested. It's a structured, mechanized, industrial modernity that makes killings in the millions. That's what we are needing to address. Now, I want you to know the facts. I want you to know the facts. Between May and June, 12 Palestinians were killed by Israel. 2 youth were walking down the street and they were shot by the Israeli military. 12. In June 29th, Israel assassinated the person responsible from Hamas from actually monitoring and making sure that the ceasefire is respected. And you could also go to the Israeli analyst. It only shows that Israel was systematically, deliberately planning for an attack on Gaza in collusion with Sisi, in collusion with our own government, in collusion with Saudi Arabia, in collusion with Jordan, in collusion with the United Arab Emirates. They were again acting in a country club to snuff out any type of resistance because they're thinking about their